All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our July 27th, 2021 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clerk Barger, if you will, call the roll, please.
Master Reynolds.
Present.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Botkin.
Present.
Judge Taylor.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Brandon Robbins from Revival House Church up to lead us in a word of prayer. Appreciate you being here, Brandon.
Let us bow our heads, Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for every opportunity that you give us, God. Lord, we thank you that you give us all that we have, God. Lord, all we have we want to use, Lord, for your glory, God. Lord, I ask that every decision that is made here today, God, bring glory to you, God, Lord. And Lord, I know going forward, God, that we make good decisions in you, God, Lord, that we do the things that we can here today, God. We're here, God. Lord, it's been a long year and a half, Lord. Lord, you are, just as you've healed me, God, Lord, I know you can heal a county and you can heal a nation, God, Lord, and I thank you, Lord, that you've brought us here today, Lord, together, Lord, to be able to make these decisions for Madison County, Lord, and I lift Madison County as a whole up to you, Jesus, Lord, and I thank you, Lord, for your salvation above all, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Tom, if you will, lead us in the pledge.
Stand, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Next is to approve postpone.
Yeah, it's,
I
and
got you.
I apologize when I'm ready, but this is our time of year when everybody's on vacation, and Landry is our utility player, so she's been in every room over the last 2 weeks, and we'll have both sets by.
Yeah, no
next board
worries,
meeting.
no worries at all. So we'll review our previous fiscal court meeting minutes at our next fiscal court meeting, which will be on August the 10th. Next is our treasurer's report. It is our fourth Tuesday. Good morning, Glenna.
Good morning. In your Dropbox, you'll have, this is a preliminary report for June 30th, 2021. I will have the actual annual financial statements. I'll present those in August to you all, the ones that actually get turned into Department of Local Government. As of June 30th, 2021, we had a balance of $19,506,490.49, which this does include our ARPA money. As of 6/30, the revenues on the general fund ended the year with 115.1%. Our expenditures were at 57.1%. Our road fund revenues ended at 84.8%. Our expenditures were 85.9%. Our jail fund revenues were at 95.2%. Our expenditures were 86.9%. The LGEA fund, our revenues ended with 126.3%. Our expenditures were 35.5%. Our CSEP fund revenues were at 15.3%. Our expenditures were 13.7%. 911, our revenues were 100.8%. Our expenditures were 72.3%. And our health fund, our revenues were at 99.1%, and our expenditures were at 78.8%. Does anybody have any questions or anything on the
Would you say the
claims?
general fund numbers again?
The general fund was 115.1% for revenues
Okay.
and 57.1% for expenditures.
Okay. And then just to make the ARPA funds, you said the total was 19 million, which included our ARPA funds. That includes the first check
Round,
of the
which was
ARPA funds.
$9,030,817.
Yeah.
Got a question.
Sure.
On the health insurance, what was that again? The figures?
Our revenues coming in were 99.1% of our budgeted funds, and our expenditures were 78.8%.
Does that mean we're in pretty good shape with our?
Yes.
And we were better, but being in the insurance
Situation.
business, sometimes some years you
Yeah.
have a lot more.
We did have a
costs.
bad year, costly year, but we've come out of it good, and we're headed in the right direction now. Usually about every 3 to 4 years, you're gonna have a high claim year.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
First order of business today is a proclamation supporting and recognizing Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. And I think we have some members in the audience. And if you all want to come up to the podium as I read the proclamation, and then we'll let you all sort of speak on behalf of the volunteer board. Are you excited to speak?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's good. All right, official recognition of the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame. Whereas the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame has been established to honor significant contributions by past, present, and future Madison County residents who have brought great recognition to themselves, Madison County, and the cities of Richmond and Berea through their careers as an athlete, coach, administrator, media member, volunteer, supporter, or game official. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, the Richmond City Commission, and the Berea City Council are proud of the athletic accomplishments and contributions of the many individuals and teams who have brought honors to themselves and these communities. And whereas the individuals and teams who earned Hall of Fame recognition have brought great notoriety to our communities and to the schools and organizations they have represented and supported. And whereas these men and women who will be enshrined through the years as Hall of Fame members have provided a source of community pride, publicity, and loyal fan following for more than a century. Now therefore, on behalf of the Madison County Fiscal Court, the City of Richmond, the City of Berea government leaders, we jointly proclaim our support and best wishes to the Madison County Sports Hall of Fame organizations, its volunteer board of directors, and to the many deserving inductees who will be enshrined in this year's inaugural class and during the years and decades to come. Eugene? Man, I appreciate you being here.
Well,
Yeah,
appreciate
it's
it.
exciting.
Yeah, I appreciate at this time for the proclamation. This is something that we started back in June of last year. And we're working on it, and this covers all fields, from golf to tennis or whatever. And even for those that may not even play the sport, but we're involved, like organizational Little League Baseball, everybody's gonna be recognized for it. And starting, hopefully, you'll hear some more news on it, we're gonna have a banquet to recognize all these people. And not only that, but I think also in the future, we're gonna put out something to where the public can nominate different ones, you know, in the field. So once again, we thank you for the proclamation, and hopefully down the road, and something will continue on that to recognize people here in Madison County for the greatness and for what they have done for Madison County. Thanks.
That's good. Donna, you want to say anything? I don't want to twist your arm, man.
That's
if you
okay,
don't.
that's okay.
Yeah.
My name is Donna Lovell. I am a lifelong Berean in Madison County. My husband and I, John Lovell, are both on the board. We are really excited and appreciate the county for supporting this project. And I know that as a historian, we both are very appreciative of recognizing these men and women who have contributed so much to our communities.
Yeah, it's awesome. Before y'all get away, well, guys, y'all want to kind of stand up behind, we're going to snap a picture. Yeah. Y'all. I will say it is always great to do joint proclamations with the city of Richmond and the city of Berea, and show that our unified approach and that we all serve Madison County, so.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
So, I can't present this to you right now because it's got one more meeting to go through. It's been to Berea and now it's come to the county, and I'm gonna pass it on to Mayor Blythe, this afternoon for his commission meeting, tonight, that I'm sure that you all will be at. So then you get to take it home. All right, appreciate you all. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, that's great. Next, we're gonna have an update, from our Madison County coroner, Jimmy Cornelison. You know, Jimmy's our elected coroner in Madison County. He's been a longtime public servant, and very thankful for his leadership. And he's gonna update the court on what's been going on today, in the coroner's office and in our community. Jimmy, glad you're here, buddy.
Glad to be here. Members of the court, judge, I wish I had good news for you, but I don't, okay? Last year we had 59 overdose deaths confirmed. This year today, as of this morning, I've got 42 confirmed and 13 pending. Now you wanna know why I've got 13 pending, and I hate to get into that, but they changed the carrier who does our toxicology, and it's a mess right now. And I've got 2 cases that are gonna involve manslaughter charges, probably. So we're trying to work through this the best we can. But anyway, as I'm sure as the county attorney would tell you, that, you know, we're seeing fentanyl. It's not gonna stop. The only way we're gonna make it stop is, you know, to maybe scare everybody from coming to Madison County. Now, the Richmond Police Department is handling these cases as manslaughter charges now. And if you notice, I on the news yesterday was one, and I know there's a couple more cases that I had, well, they're all with them, that are people have been charged with manslaughter. So maybe and these are players, okay? These aren't necessarily the users, but these are the people who are bringing it in and selling it to your children and your grandchildren. So we need to eliminate them however we see fit. So we've got 3 or 4 of those cases going right now. It is, I haven't had an overdose since Sunday, so that's not a bad start for the week, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a lot. And I want you to understand about these numbers. There are a lot of people who EMS, and I always toot the horn at EMS, and not because I was involved in it for 37 years, but because they get there, they get this Narcan on board, but lots of times the patient will come back to breathe, but they're brain dead, okay? They are admitted to the hospital. They do not become a coroner's case unless there is a criminal charge that may go along with it, okay? Then I'm called upon it. But those people, excuse me, lots of time become organ donors. I'm just telling you the truth. Just organ donors, they keep them alive because usually they're younger, and but they do not become one of my numbers because they did not go through the coroner's office. So these numbers are as accurate as I can give you, but they're not 100% accurate. Because I'll get calls all the time, and people will say, well, went to the hospital and they died. I said, I don't know anything about it. Unless the hospital contacts me because of a criminal case or something like that, there's you know, I don't know anything about it. You would be amazed on a weekly basis how many calls I get, and people ask me if I have such and such in the morgue. They're looking for a loved one. Unbelievable. You know, people call you crying and say, I don't know that name. Well, they said they overdosed. Well, call the hospital. You know, I haven't done their case at all. So that's kind of where we're standing right now. Is it any better? Absolutely, positively, no. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you guys and ladies or the public. It is not at all.
And every year it's gotten a little worse.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I don't know about, you know, 3 weeks ago, within a 3-week period, I had 5 decomp bodies. Now, when I talk about decomp, I mean decomp bodies. You know, some unrecognizable. You know, we have to do teeth or fingerprints if we can, or whatever. And that's just showing you, number one, that there's a lot of people out there that nobody knows where they are, or maybe nobody cares. I don't know. One of the manslaughter cases came from that, came from a decomp body. So, I mean, that's more. I had them in 3 weeks, and that's more than I usually get in a year. you know, just trying to recognize who they are. But there's a lot of people out there, I know lots of people don't see them, but when you're out at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you see people walking the sidewalks and huddled underneath something, you know, we have a problem. Not just us, but it's ours because it's here. Let's see. Other things that are going on, I've got a body in the morgue right now from Poland. I got rid of one from Mexico yesterday. We're seeing more of that, okay? And like the one from Poland, the partner spoke very little English. The father in Poland speaks no English. The daughter in Germany speaks no English. And the only thing that I got somebody to get from the father was tell him to cremate him and send him over here. Well, no, that's not this board. This is not your responsibility. You know, we've been able, with the help from Judge Taylor, we've been able to handle that pretty well so far. But, you know, hey, you know, you tell me what you want done, and then I'll tell you who to contact to get it done. And, you know, we'll kind of go from there. Still having a little problem with body bags. Can't get them, come out of China. I've got some from the state, and we're getting some now that are showing up. In talking about transportation of bodies, I would be just sadly confused if I did not bring up to you all the decision that was made by this court. I don't know, right, a year ago with the volunteers, Waco Volunteer Fire Department, to transport my bodies. And they've transported more in the last 12 to 14 months than we've done in ever. And I mean, another one yesterday and one Sunday. But they get somebody to me. I mean, when you walk in a place and nobody knows the person and they're dead, or you walk in a place and they look at you and say, we don't have any money, or we don't know what we're gonna do, I mean, you can't just call a funeral home. Lots of people think you just call them, they'll come get them, and then they'll work it out with them. Doesn't work that way. You know, funeral home is a business just like anything else. So we take them in our care, and luckily, I'll tell people, I'm fortunate enough to have the walk-in cooler that we have, and we've had as many as 9 or 10 bodies in there over the last year at one time. I am keeping a list now of, started at the first of the year, just to see how many bodies are in there, have been through there, and I think we started our 3rd sheet, so that's gonna be 45 or 46 bodies we have already brought to the morgue to keep them there. But my hat's off to Waco Fire Department. And you all are compensating them for that, and appreciate that, and it's makes a big difference. As far as for the COVID, for the coroner's office, our office didn't close, obviously. We still made house calls. We took every precaution that we could take. I wasn't concerned about the deceased as much as I was everybody standing around the deceased bed with no mask on. So we tried to restrict our contact with everybody else and get everybody else to leave if we could, at least step outside or into another room. Of course, we were all vaccinated early on, which I think is what's going to have to happen before things get out of hand. And I'd like to thank the county attorney, because I never get to see her. I never call her unless I need something. And she's helped me with a couple of cases, and her office has open records, and I'll leave that at that. Request and just questions about a court order. If I have someone that nobody claims the body, what we need to do. So I want to thank you for that. You know, it means a lot to us. And other than that, I'll entertain any questions from you guys or ladies or anyone that's got a question. I'll try to answer it for you.
Jimmy, do you think the coronavirus has added to those numbers?
You know, Master Tudor, it's hard to say. It's just like me signing a death certificate. Am I going to put COVID on there? Well, most of the people, not all of them, most of the people who died of COVID have underlying medical issues. Okay, COPD, you know, something like that, or heart disease or something. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know, but I don't Unless they had been tested positive for COVID, I did not put it down. And they may have died of COVID. But if you haven't been tested, because we do not test them when they're deceased. They said, the health department said, there's no reason to do that.
I'm referring to as many people at home and not working and receiving these stimulus checks and going out and using those for drugs. Is that added to it, you feel like?
I wish you hadn't brought the word stimulus up, because I can tell every time a check goes out. People think that's not true. That is true. We can tell it. I'm sure Tony Terry in his department can tell you the same thing. It's just like clockwork. Actually had words with a guy once over that, and that night, I made a call. A guy was deceased in a little small apartment. He had 11 $100 bills, brand new and crisp, in his pocket, in his billfold. And once I dug deeper in his billfold, I found the 12th one folded up with heroin in it. So you tell me. It's pretty obvious. It gives them extra money. Let's put it to you that way. They may not have to do the things that they would normally do. They may be able to buy more. And folks, it's I feel sorry for these people. I really do. I want to help them. We have to help ourselves too. We have to step up and do what.
One of the scary parts of it is that you've already had 42 deaths and 13 pending this year.
Mhm.
What if we didn't have Narcan? What would those numbers be?
I
how
would
many?
probably get a whole lot less sleep than what I'm getting now, because we couldn't handle the numbers, Judge. We could not handle the numbers. I don't know if people here carry Narcan in their car. I've got it in every vehicle I've got when I go on a call, because, we can go on a call and you look over in the corner and somebody all of a sudden is real glassy-eyed. Have they finished up the drugs that this person is dead from, or what? But, and again, and I think I've stated this to y'all before, it's amazing to me to go and find someone deceased like that and them not have a quarter in their pocket, not have a billfold, not have a purse, not have an ID, nothing. So I guess it's okay that if we're together and I overdose, you just take what I got. I don't know. It amazes me. Now you can connect the dots, and police are doing a good job on getting information from different things that we take at the scene. I've got one apartment I've done 3 deaths in. 3. I boarded up, but I don't know. Anyone else that I can try to answer anything for you?
What's the age range of these people? Is it mostly younger people? Or?
No, sir. Not necessarily. I'd say between 25 and 45 is my big age place right now. Now, occasionally we'll get, something a little younger than that, but I believe that's probably the predominant. As high as 68.
Really?
Oh yeah. Now, do you think of that as prescription drugs? Well, could it be? Yeah, but when it comes back as heroin, I haven't seen many prescriptions for that. So it's just, I do a lot of drug screens, and I'll have people question me on doing that. I give you an example. Not too long ago, I did a death, and it seemed to be fairly natural. Younger person, but it just, I don't know. If it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And I finally said, well, I have to ask you these questions: alcohol abuse or drug abuse? No, okay, fine. But, and when that but comes out, a friend came by and gave them a Vicodin, and that was the very thing out of their mouth. And I said, okay, now they're dead. So what else was there? So that's, we just try to connect the dots and do the best we can with law enforcement and go from there. We're not going to stop it. We're not going to stop it at what we're doing right now. And if you're going to answer, well, what's the answer to it? If I had that, I wouldn't be here. Okay? It's just going to continue on.
Jimmy, I just want to make a comment. You are the end result, or you see the end result of the very thing that we've battled in this court for the last 6.5 years.
Yes, sir.
The drug issues and the drug problems in Madison County have only gotten worse from the time that we came in. We know that we're a main thoroughfare with I-75 from the north to the south.
Right.
And it not only affects those peoples and the lives of those peoples, their families, that they lose their lives, But, I mean, you know, we've talked about this for years. We've got the jail that's overrunning and busting into seams. We've got a sheriff's department that's understaffed, that don't have enough people.
Right.
We don't have the money to pay for them or to fix the jail.
Right.
You know, so we tried to get the legislators to do something. The only thing that they can do is just make the penalties less so that they don't go to jail.
Right.
Doesn't fix your problem at all.
No.
It doesn't fix the drug problem at all. It just raises the rates and the theft limits that somebody can go steal and turn around and sell to buy more drugs without going to jail.
Right.
And believe me, they know exactly what that dollar limit is.
Oh, yeah.
They'll go and steal, they know, I don't know how they know it, but they know. They can
Yeah.
tell you right to the penny how much they can steal before they're going to the jail. And,
But
I mean,
I
I don't
think-
know where that ends. We
I-
battled for
I
that for
don't.
years. We don't know where
It
it
ends in my morgue. That's where it ends.
That's right.
And the thing with the fentanyl, you know, they're selling it, they're bound to be pawning it off as heroin. You know, I guess fentanyl's gotten cheaper, these clandestine labs and all this stuff. It's amazing what's going on with, excuse me. But we'll just deal with them and like I tell my department all the time, you know, you can become very complacent and you can become very cold to it. I mean, you work 3 overdoses in one day, what is it? It's an overdose. Oh, okay. And we don't treat it that way. We treat everybody as individuals, and I always tell them somebody somewhere loves them. You know, somebody somewhere, there's a broken heart somewhere.
Yeah.
Just unfortunate, we have to go see them.
Yeah.
But we do.
You know, people, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to, and I don't care. But you mentioned it, you touched on it, and I'm gonna say it again, because I've said it since day one. Until you hang a drug dealer on the courthouse steps and send the message that, hey, you don't come to Madison County, because there's a pretty tough penalty for it,
Yep.
it's never going.
Well, and I'm hoping what these manslaughter charges and things will send out a message, you know, that maybe you ought to sidestep Madison County. And Tony Terry's sitting back there, and I was involved with him in law enforcement for a long time. And, you know, sometimes when you pull these people over and stuff like that, and everybody has rights except somebody who wears a badge anymore, you know, they have to do what they've got to do. Simple as that. If you don't like what they do, then don't get in the game. Stay out of the game. But
Well,
we'll see what happens.
we know that you have a thankless job, and it's a job that nobody wants, and we appreciate what you and your people do over there. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you saying that. Anyone else?
Jimmy, I don't have a question, I just got a comment for you. I just want to thank you for being the compassionate and understanding man that you are. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we have met late at night, haven't we?
Yeah, time or two.
Anybody else?
Anybody?
Judge, if I,
Sure.
you know, I've not been the elected official very long here, but I've been prosecuting for a long time, and I can tell you all, of course, it's not just Madison County, we have to deal with this. All of our associations talk the increase in drug usage, overdoses, that kind of thing. But I can confidently say, especially, I've had the benefit of being on the executive board now with the county attorney's offices, that an association, that we do have the best coroner in the state. I put hands
Thank you.
down on that.
Amen.
Jimmy's right. No one ever calls me unless they need something. I mean, that's just the nature of being the county attorney, right? But, and we've gone through some, don't say open records.
Right.
It's been awful, but I do thoroughly enjoy working with Jimmy. I mean, it's unfortunately in the nature of what we do, it's not pleasant, but to have somebody who is just an upstanding human being to work with makes it more pleasurable than what we do.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Appreciate you, Jimmy.
Thank you,
Appreciate you a lot. Thanks for coming. Next is our second reading of ordinance 2021-13. This is a zone change, 1270 Mobberly Road.
It's gonna be
Bert?
tough to follow.
It is.
Good morning, everybody.
One vote.
Just to remind everybody, this is an ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, approving a zone change for 1270 Mobberly Road, Richmond, Kentucky, and authorizing the amendment of the official zoning map of Madison County. I won't read the whole ordinance again. I will remind the court of the findings of fact from the Planning Commission when they made the recommendation to approve this. Number one, that the proposed zoning classification is appropriate as it is consistent with the comprehensive plan for the following reasons. the character and area of the property due to the residential development in the area from Colonel Road to Mobberly on Highway 52 East.
Concord Road,
What did I say?
Colonel.
Concord Road, I'm sorry, to Mobberly on Highway 52 East, including the new residential development that was approved by the fiscal court in October of 2020 for a property that is adjacent to this property. Development is desirable in the transportation corridors. The subject property contains the required infrastructure, including sewer on site needed for residential development, and there is an established need for single-family residential lots in the county at this time.
All right, thank you, Bert. At this time, do y'all want to present?
You want to make that part of the discussion phase? You want to?
Yeah, I think so.
You want to get a
We
motion?
need to do a motion first. Do the motion and then let him move to see if we
Motion
do
to
a motion
accept
and then
the
let him
ordinance
present
first.
during the discussion.
Okay. So at this time, do I have a motion and a second to approve, ordinance number 2021-13?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2021-13. Second.
So I have a motion and a second. All right. So do we have any discussion? What's the pleasure of the court? Do y'all want to ask questions about this to the applicant? Do you want them to present?
I would like to see the presentation again, Judge.
Okay.
Likewise, it's hard to follow the sobering comments of our board. We've all known Jimmy for a long time. I concur that when I travel across the state, he is recognized as the preeminent corner in our
Yep.
state. And I appreciate this. I appreciate it. As does the court. I'm here on behalf of GS and JV Properties LLC, who is the owner of an 84.1 tract of land located at 1270 Motterly Love Road. This is not the first rodeo for this proposed development. In August of 2019, almost 2 years ago, this court denied the same request. But a lot has changed since that time. A year later, in August of 2020, a zone change to R1 was approved for an adjoining tract located at 3241, 3245, and 3249 Old Highway 52. That property adjoins this property to the north, and it adjoins the fairgrounds to the west. Additionally, as I travel Urban Road, I notice a new Amoco station and a Dough Daddy's that have been erected there. All right, thanks. I'm usually loud enough to where people tell me to tone it down some. But that's a new development in the area, and it's there at the intersection of Mobberly Road and Highway 52. And additionally, down Speedwell Road, App Harvest has purchased 250 acres with the intent to develop it and hire employees just down Speedwell Road. We talked, Mr. Thomas talked at the initial reading of this ordinance that the anticipated update of the 2015 comprehensive plan, he would recommend that this property be included in the urban corridor. It meets all the criteria to do so. It is adjacent to the urban corridor at this time. And finally, during the past year, we've suffered through this pandemic. And it has forever changed and altered the way that we live. And one of the results of that is, as we're coming out of that pandemic, there is a great need for residential housing in Madison County. I don't like to do too much about going into the comprehensive plan and pulling out little pieces. But I do want to share with you a paragraph on a sentence on page 90 of the comprehensive plan, which I think accurately describes this property. And it says, the county has continued to encourage all development within either the urban corridor, rural corridor, or rural community designated area when it has been demonstrated that there is community need and the infrastructure to support it. And that kind of sums up, that describes this property. And it describes the findings of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which has met twice on this request back in 2019 and again in 2020, and had both times unanimously approved the change of this property from ag to residential. You've heard the findings that the proposed zoning classification is appropriate as it is consistent with the comprehensive plan for the following reasons. The character and area of the property due to the residential development in that area from Concord Road to Mobberly on Highway 52 East. Development is desirable in the transportation corridor. The subject property contains the required infrastructure, including sewer, on the site needed for residential development. And there is an established need for single-family residential lots in the county at this time. There can be no doubt that this is a growth area. The infrastructure is not only available for the property, it is on the property. If it's not going to be developed, there's no reason to have this, no reason to expand the sewer. There's a sewer manhole on the property that is adequate to handle the residential needs. The property is currently designated in the 2015 comprehensive plan as adjacent to the urban corridor. As I mentioned earlier, when the comprehensive plan is revised, this is a 2015 document. When it is revised, this property meets all the criteria to be included in the urban corridor, and the planning staff will recommend the same. Now, let's get down to the primary concerns that have been addressed about this property, and that is traffic and drainage. Traffic. The property is located on an improved 20-foot county road. There is no direct access from this property to Highway 52. There is access to the property and 3 exits and entryways, primarily at a stoplight on 52. Now, we all know the danger of Highway 52 and the number of accidents that occur there. That stoplight is a method to reduce and to safely exit and enter Mobberly Road, which is directly to this property within an 1/8 of a mile. This property, as I mentioned, there are 2 other potential exit and entryways to the property that can dissipate the traffic if necessary. The other thing I will say is that in terms of traffic, roads aren't normally built to promote development or to favor individuals or groups of individuals, but rather they are built for the need. That's the case here. The stoplight is at Mobberly is a mere quarter mile from a 4-lane section of 52, it's easy to imagine that that could be extended to Mobberly. Let's talk about drainage, which has been a concern, a primary concern. Mr. Webb will talk the technicals of the draining, but I want to share with you show you a poster that that depicts the water flow.
Oh, you go up.
And as I said, Mr. Webb can talk technically about it, but I know that the court was concerned at the last hearing about this particular site and the drainage on it. And you can see that DNS and JV properties have purchased, this is the main 80 acre tract, and they have purchased the square, which is almost 4 acres, 3.61 acres. And it backs up to Estonia Estates. He can talk about the benefits, potential benefits to the Estonia Estates by dedicating this entire area, 4 acre area, for water detention. But you can see that this is the highest point in Mobberly, and water travels this way and will be directed to that detention area, and the rest of the tract, it flows 3 ways, this way, and this way, and they're directed to detention areas here and here. Now, these may or may not represent the size of those detention areas. They're just there for illustrative purpose at this time. When the property is scheduled for development, an engineering study will be done in order to design and, if necessary, oversize those detention areas. The area that surrounds Mobberly can, I think, be described as a glade. And if you say that this property cannot be developed, then there could be no other development in that area. But that doesn't mean that this property can't be productively and successfully developed. Mr. Webb will tell you that, in his opinion, the development with retention areas will significantly reduce the volume of water to all adjacent properties by oversizing these detention areas. Now, glades can and are successfully developed. As most of you know, I grew up in Berea on a farm just north of Berea on US 25. And back when I was a young child, there wasn't much development on that area. And we called it the Strip. I don't hear that much anymore. You know, you had a Tasty Freeze, you had a Transit, you had a Chevron station. Now at the end, you had Cummins Chrysler. But in the middle, there was Glades Road. And if you're going to Richmond on the right, there was a paved road that went to 1016. But on the left, you had a dirt road that was, I would describe it as not passable in a passenger car. That area, and it was, they call it the Glade for a reason. It's a flat area that doesn't drain directly into a tributary. Look at Glades Road now, from US 25 to Walnut Meadow Road. You have 2 schools, you have a bank, you have a fire station, you have a business strip mall, a post office. It's been successfully developed. This property can too, with the proper engineering. I hope that starts a discussion with Mr. Webb with respect to the water. And I'll ask him at this time to come forward and address the board.
Good morning. Jay Webb, Central Kentucky Land Survey. A little packet I'd like to pass around. As you can see in the packet, we're requesting the zone change from R7 to R1, single family residential. Flip to the second page, you can see the boundary of the farm, 80.42 acres. Shows the adjacent properties around. You can see one of the biggest adjoining lines is Marberly Road. There's almost 3,000 feet that fronts that high, that county road. Then if you'll look to the following page is the 3.61 acre tract that Mr. Gilbert referred to earlier. That entire 3.61 acres, it's included in the zone change, but it's not to be developed. That is the area north of Estonia Estates. You can see those lots. There's approximately 4 lots that touch it to the south. And that's where all the drainage from the upstream area, several hundred acres, flow into Estonia Estates. This 3.61 acres is directly above it, above their watershed. So that retention area is what it's proposed for, retention and green space. No development will happen on that 3.61 acres, strictly retention and green space. So those ponds can be, all of those can be significantly reduce the volume of water going to the adjacent properties there. That pond can be greatly oversized. You know, I don't know of any development in the county that has three acre retention. That's enormous. The main stream comes right through this 3 acres. So it can be controlled, not just for our development, but for the entire drainage basin above it. So that's a huge bonus for Estonia Estates if that can happen.
Is that the Carl Green property on the first page?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
It's a portion of the Carl Green property.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Green still owns roughly 5 or 6 acres that goes out to Concord Road. I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that number, but I'm close
Yeah, okay,
on
I
the
was just
remainder. Yeah.
seeing where that is compared to the 80 acres
Yes,
on
sir.
the big plat.
Yep. And it's at our southwest corner. So as this shows, 32 acres of our farm flows directly into that retention basin as well. So not hardly half, what's the math on that? Two-thirds of our farm flows into that retention area as well. As we'll go to one of these following sheets, you'll see the topographical map, a couple of sheets behind there. Looks like this. That shows you the drainage basin that's coming towards Estonia, 327 acres. Then you can see in the red box there where the red and blue overlap, that is the 3.61 acres. And you can see how the blue line comes right through, so that's the stream coming through that retention area. So that can significantly reduce the amount of water coming into Estonia Estates. The potential is there for this development to do that. All of the retention areas are shown on this map, and they can all be oversized. A development, when you get into this much acreage, you have to have a significant amount of green space to be able to develop. So these green space areas can double as oversized retention ponds. We can put grossly oversized retention in these areas. One of them is an existing pond that the plan is to clean up, clean out, and put storage. You know, it'll detain water, retain water all the time. Proposing a fountain to go in that, kind of keep it clean, fresh. Then on top of that, we can back water up for detention, and then let it back out after the storms. So you'll have a pretty pond that functions as detention as well, right at the entrance to this, and that is along Marbley Road. So that will catch all the water from this property and run it through those ponds. There's two areas that'll be required for detention to catch the other 48.4 acres. I think that's about what I have on detention.
Does any water from across Marbley Road, does it come back towards Marbley Road and hit a culvert and come under the road at all, or does it all shed, I guess, east?
Everything from this property will shed east, yes. Nothing comes from across Marbley Road to this property.
To this property?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And some of those developments across the road, I think Shady Oaks and Rose Trace, I'm not sure what type of retention they have in those, because those properties, unfortunately, were almost too flat. There is such a thing as too flat for development. Fortunately, this property has, we're on the high spot in Marbley. If you look at that contour map again, you can see water goes every direction from this area. So we're at the top of the watershed, which for development is an advantage. You don't want to be at the bottom of the watershed. You want to be at the top.
All right.
Again, if the zone change is approved, once we get to planning and zoning, that's when we get into designing retention ponds, designing infrastructure, storm sewers, catch basins, all those sorts of things. So that will all be addressed before any construction can begin. We'll have to have a complete approved development plan through planning and zoning. The second thing I'd like to address, if I can move on to, is the road, Marbley Road. It was increased in width with the two developments I mentioned earlier, Rose Trace and Shady Oaks, directly across from this property, both of those. The road was widened all the way from Highway 52 to those developments. That road used to be, I think, 15, 16 feet wide. It was narrow. Now with those developments, the road has been improved to a 20-foot pavement width and a much, much better situation. It's a nice, straight, flat road. There's no hidden curves, no blind humps. It's a very nice road at this point. This development, again, with the acreage we're talking, will more than likely require turn lanes into it. So that will widen and improve the road even further. So every entrance we have, planning and zoning, will require us to put a turning lane in. And as far as the infrastructure goes outside of the road, we do have sanitary sewer on the property. There's a manhole, the Madison County Sewer District. It's currently in use. It's a flowing manhole. It's on the property, on that southwest 3.61 acres. Sanitary sewer is there. We also have 6-inch water line on Marberly Road in place already, ready for fire flow, fire hydrants. I think we have, all the necessary things for development, and the advantage being on top of the watershed. One plus I see, there are no huge gas transmission lines, so those things, people develop on them all the time, but we don't have those here, so that's no concern. No large transmission lines for electricity either. We have to have them, they're necessary, but nobody really wants to live almost under one, so. I think this property is perfect for development. It's in an area of the county that is obviously growing, and all of the infrastructure is in place. Does anyone have any
Thank you.
questions?
Questions from any court members?
I just still have some concerns, Mr. Webb, about the traffic flow down at the light. I just don't think until it is developed with the extra lanes down there, and I guess that's something we'll have to come through the state transportation department, that we can have a smooth traffic flow in and out of that intersection down there. That's one of my concerns. Another concern is the drainage problem, and I know you're going to build the detention ponds, which work. I see the one over at Dove Landing, and it's pretty much dry every time I look over there. And after a rain, it's flowing straight through. There's no water retaining in that pond.
I can't speak for the design.
I
on that
understand,
pond.
but the design was not properly constructed, the way I see it. There's a 3-acre detention pond proposal above Estonia Estates. Just last week, I had 3 residents in Estonia Estates causing raising cane on me for the water flow that they've received down there and the fear of the development up above them. There's a pond just above the fence in Estonia Estates right now, which is probably on this green property. And it controls some of the water flow down through there. But I guess the detention pond would have a valve to control when and how much water flows through that.
Yes, sir. A traditional farm pond doesn't control water.
It holds and
until it's full, then it just
overflows.
overflows like it's not there.
Yeah,
basically.
so, I mean, I drove out there the other day and the street had a foot of water on it. There's, a lot of the houses are flooding out there. And there's a lot of concern from those residents, and I have to hear those.
Here's a great opportunity to help them.
And as far as the zone change on the adjacent property next to this, it came up a year ago in August. It was approved by the recommendation of the planning and zoning at a vote of 2-2. And the reason the tie vote went through it because of the recommendation of the planning and zoning. There was not enough votes to overturn that. If we had a full quorum, I feel like there might have been a different decision on that vote, but we never know about that now. That's about all I have. I think there's some residents in the area would like to.
Yeah, let's get questions, make sure that none of the court members have questions. I mean, everybody, this is a public hearing, it's the second reading of ordinance. It has been advertised, and so we'll get public comment in just a second, but I want to give the court members time to ask any questions that you all may have.
John's pretty much touched on everything that my concern was too. I don't see how a retention pond is gonna help Estonia Estates at all. I don't care how little water you've got coming out of it, they're still gonna get water beyond what you all are developing as well. And
We can significantly reduce the volume of water coming not only from our property, pre-development compared to post-development, but all the 300 other acres that are flowing to Estonia Estates will pass through this retention basin. And it can be controlled and reduce that amount of volume.
Okay. but we can drive around while we've had some hard rains, and I can show you some places that are flooding that's got retention ponds. But the place that the retention pond on is not flooding. It's what they're letting out to the next property is what's flooding.
With proper design, it can reduce that amount of volume of
Sure,
water.
sure it can. And John also spoke about the vote, which was 2 for and 2 against and 1 not here. That passed because regulations trump common sense, I'll tell you that. Regulations got that passed.
Judge, I'd like to also make a comment about, this development was, denied the first reading or the first time through 4-1. And then it went to circuit court and it was upheld by the circuit court. And then they're being brought back now.
Yeah.
But it was upheld by the circuit court, the vote of the fiscal court.
Right. From 2 years ago.
Correct.
Anyone else? All right, do y'all have anything else?
That's all.
Okay. All right. Jay, if you don't mind, maybe just lean that up against the first pew there, just so that easel's not in the way of people coming to the podium.
Is we all right?
Yep, I think that'd be great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, at this time, do we have any public comment that would like to come forward? Sure, Mr. Jones. If you don't mind to come to the podium and just state your name.
My name is Bobby Jones. I'm a Moberly Road resident. I'm here to speak on behalf of more than the 250 homes on Moberly across the road from the development. They've addressed some of the issues, I don't think adequately. The traffic that we're speaking about, the 4-lane at Moberly Shell is a bottleneck. It's not a good turning lane. They don't have turning lanes to and from Moberly Road off of 52 or to Speedway, either one, coming either direction. They have bottlenecks. You can be there through a whole cycle. If you're the first car in line, you can be the only one that gets through that light. Everybody else is trying shoulder to get off to go to Moberly, to Speedwell, et cetera, like that. And it bottlenecks from both directions. So I don't see that the traffic has been addressed there. We as residents, the 250 homes, et cetera, we're on the downside of that water that he just spoke about. We're on the downside, he's on the upside, and I see where he's in favor, but we're against it because yards, homes, et cetera, stay wet on you. Heavy rains are an issue there. We also, going back to what Magistrate Tudor said, 2 years ago it was denied 4-1, overwhelmingly denied 4-1. Again, when it came up last time, the precedents we're trying to speak of is the 2-2 vote on Old 52, Waco Loop there, passing 2-2 by regulation and not, I believe the magistrate that was not here that day voted against it the first time around. So in essence, I think we would have defeated it that time and maybe not had the same issue. But again, I'm just speaking for the 250 residents on Moberly Road. We're overwhelmingly against this development.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. Anyone else like to address the court? Sure.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name's Donnie Gentry. I live at 1220 Marbling. I'm bordered to the east of the property in question. So we moved in there with the understanding we're in an area of growth and assumed that there would be development around us. We had a discussion, my wife and I, is it a deal breaker if they develop? We said no. I mean, we assume that. We're in Madison County, Richmond, area of need, there's undeveloped land around us. So we went into it assuming that they were going to develop. I'm on the downhill side, and I see nothing but improvement from the development. With the proper installation of retainage and the confidence in planning and zoning and implementing it, it's going to help me. Anything downhill from that property would benefit from the development. So as a Moberly Road resident, I have no objection against it.
And where did you say that you?
1220. I'm the easternmost boundary, so I'll border the Smith property. That was
Okay.
just, yeah. So I border them by 600 feet and the other property by, I don't know, about 100 feet or so.
Okay.
So if you're heading down Marbley, heading toward the Shell station, I'm in that field down there.
Yeah.
We have 6.5 acres down there.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any other comments? Sure. Good morning.
My name is Deanna Tyler.
Hey, if you don't, will you speak into the mic,
Yes.
please, just so that cameras and audio can hear
So,
you.
my name is Deanna Tyler. I am the current president of the Madison County Home Builders Association. They asked us to come and speak with you all. I'm also a realtor here in the county since 2004, born and raised Madison County resident. So, just to kind of give you an idea of our standpoint, so we've talked to obviously the builders, other agents, of that kind of thing. And so, as you know, this year has been amazing for realtors, and we are all for the development, of course. It would be very beneficial to our residents, the government. You know, it's just going to really, the income that it could bring to our, you know, our government is amazing. If you break those numbers down, it's just crazy. So I'm just going to do like a local estimate. So this obviously would not be 100% sure on that, but if you were to build an estimate of 100 single-family homes in a year's time, that's around $28.7 million in local income. That's, you know, our builders, their finishers, you know, framers, your plumbers, you know, all of that. And so that's a huge thing for our local. It's a huge thing for our small businesses. So, you know, 90%, well, pretty much 100% of our local builders are small business owners. And so you're just, if this development was to go through, it would not only help, you know, that area of growth, which, you know, you've got the depot that's going to bring in a lot, but it's just going to be a huge benefit to that point of it. As far as the water retention and all of that, I'm not, you know, I can't speak from a total aspect on that, but I will tell you that Estonia Estates, selling since 2004, I've sold several homes in there, so I do get your concern about the water issue. But I do think, I agree with him, because there was a development on Irvin Road that they put a church in. If you guys are familiar with that, I think it's Life Church. And they had a lot of retention. They've put in 2 ponds since, and it made a huge difference on just the people from, you know, the other subdivisions. So I do think that the retention would be huge for Estonia, and it's going to help those residents, as well as their property value will go up. So, yeah, that's our take on it. Thank you all.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
I'm Elliot Turner. I'm with the sewer department, so they've asked me to come and, I guess, make certain sewer was on the property. It is on the property now. We have adequate treatment plant capacity, so all good as far as the sewer. In our opinion, the districts, as far as sewer, gravity sewer is the way to go. And that's what they're proposing. So for sewer, I don't think you'd get a better location. They're talking about, I'm not a good public speaker, so just bear with me.
You don't have to be.
The gentleman here lives in Rose Trace. I believe he mentioned that when it rains, their yards are flooded. When you put gravity sewer in an area, you're basically putting a drainage field in. We've put sewer in Estonia, Bradley Drive. The homeowners are having issues with their backyards. They just couldn't go in their backyards after a rain event. You put this gravity sewer in, you're putting a drainage fill in. And you take the, if you design it properly, and I know they will, you take that water that has drained in the groundwater, you take that to that retention pond and you open it up and let it come out there, you're taking away a lot of that water issues. So, like I said, the area, we got, you know, sewer there on the Carl Green property. It'll handle it. We have the pump stations, three-phase pump stations there at Estonia. It'll handle the flow. You're talking about, I know Estonia has water issues, flooding issues. Somebody needs to go over and talk to the Army depot to get that beaver dam took out so that get a drain under 52. So, any questions on sewer? I don't live out there, so I can't comment on the area, but as far as sewer, we can handle it. It's everything that's that you would want as far as sewer is a gravity sewer system.
Thanks, Elliot. Anybody got any questions for Elliot? Any questions? All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? Closed.
Anything else for me?
Bert, the only thing that I want to bring up is so the next steps, I mean, obviously the zone change is basically saying whether a property conforms.
Right, so all these drainage questions and traffic questions and everything would theoretically be addressed at the site development plan stage. I think the applicant just wanted to maybe address any concerns that y'all might have because of the previous meetings and whatnot. But yeah, all those drainage questions will be dealt with at that stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a concern, you know, with community members out there about traffic.
Yeah, the one thing that wasn't mentioned, I want to make sure the court knows, is part of that development that we're talking about on Old 52, the 2-to-2 vote. Old Mobley Road is actually going to be widened as a result of that development. So that, you know, if traffic is a concern for some people, potentially that might help alleviate some of that. If you don't want to go to the light, you can turn right on Old 52 and go up to past the fairgrounds to another entrance. So there's multiple ways in and out of this property. There'll be, because of the number of lots, Jay touched on it a little bit, there will be turn lanes that have to be a part of this development. But there'll also be multiple lanes out of the development. So you'll have turn lanes to go left or to go right. So if somebody wanted to utilize one of those other ways to access this property, Charlie Norris or Old 52 Urban Road, there's multiple ways to get to it, and those turn lanes will be required because of the number of lots.
Does the planning commission ever require like any kind of traffic study to ever be done, like before a site development plan is approved?
No, it's not a requirement.
It's not a requirement?
No.
Okay.
It has been done in the past, but it's not something that the planning commission, it's not in the regulations. I suppose if the planning commission wanted to ask for that, they could, but they didn't in this case.
Yeah. But I'm saying for the development plan, they wouldn't really ask for that for
the zone change.
Because the zone change, you know, as long as it conforms and with neighboring properties, and I mean that's really what a zone change is about.
That's right. Do you have the infrastructure? Is the area appropriate for that? Is it in keeping with the comprehensive plan? Mr. Gilbert touched on a little bit the comp plan. As you and Master Bakken know, we've been working on the update to the plan. It's pretty much ready to go, except we're waiting on some new statistics to come out so we can have an accurate plan. But the drafts of that plan I can share with you are they're including this property in what's going to be our urban corridor, which runs north to south, pretty much along I-75 and east to west through the county, like a big plus sign on 52 Urban Road and Lancaster Road. So that is being, this property, if that plan is approved, will be part of that larger urban corridor, because it has to, those lines haven't been redrawn in 20 years. Certainly, we didn't have sewer out there then. We didn't have a 4-lane urban road when those lines were drawn. So it's appropriate to update those maps and update those lines, and that's as Tom knows, that's what this plan's doing. So this property, like I said, is going to be included in that urban corridor.
And there are discussions going on, I know, with the State Transportation Cabinet about, you know, continuing to improve 52, you know, on out towards what is it, Dreaming Creek? Is that the creek at the Estill, Madison County line?
Muddy Creek.
Muddy Creek?
Yeah.
Muddy Creek.
But we know
Yeah.
Speedwell's gonna be improved.
And Speedwell's gonna be
As
improved.
part of that, it stands, that's logical that you'd improve 52 if you're gonna improve a
Yeah.
side road off of 52.
Right. It might be in phases, you know, I mean, there is a plan already in place for expanding 52 all the way to the Estill County line, but, and it might have to go in phases, you know, start there at Charlie Norris, I think that's where the 4 lanes ends.
Right.
But start there at Charlie Norris and maybe, you know, maybe try to get to Dreaming Creek. I guess that would be Dreaming Creek before, Waco Baptist Church there.
No, that, I got you backwards. That's Muddy Creek, Drowning Creek.
I was
is the
right.
line. Drowning Creek,
Will you
not
put that in the
Dreaming.
paper, that I was right and Kenny Varsity was wrong?
Dreaming's off.
Drowning
Drowning
Creek,
Creek.
Dreaming Creek's right there.
Yeah, that's right, Dreaming Creek's here. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm getting my
Don't
creeks
put that in
messed
the
up.
paper.
Yeah, don't put that in the paper, that's right. That's right, yeah. But anyway, there are plans, I mean, I think,
Yeah, and let me just add one thing, Master Tudor, you had some concerns about Dove's Landing, and that looks like a huge, you probably, like you could fit 3 soccer fields in that detention area in front of Dove's Landing. But one thing to remember is, there's still at least 2 phases, maybe 3 phases of Dove's Landing that hasn't even been built yet. So that's all those roofs, all those roads, all that drainage, all that water that comes off the depot, Jay mentioned Beaver Dam's up there. So they've had to account for all of that. If you ever take the time to look behind Dove's Landing, it goes straight up, and all that water that comes off the depot. So they have had to tweak some of those drains and some of those culverts out there to try to get them to work right. There were some problems early going.
Right, with the
going
doctor's
on.
office there.
The doctor's office, right, it wasn't retaining it like it should. So if you go out there and look, they've got some covers over some of those culverts now to try to, you know, it's a work in progress. So I wouldn't throw them under the bus because it's an ongoing development. I think it's too early to say it was poorly designed because we're not done with it yet. I say we, the developer.
yeah. All right, any other questions, comments, thoughts? We do have a motion and a second.
I just have a comment, Judge.
Sure.
I have been out with John and looked at Estonia out there and seen, and their water problem is real. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that the creek is gonna run through this almost 4-acre retention pond is gonna have to help that situation out there. Of course, you know, they'll be getting water in there from other places, and that's gonna be critical to the success without just absolutely drowning those people. You know, being a part of the comprehensive plan and working on that and knowing that the urban corridors is being extended out, knowing that the Marbley Road that on the other side where App Harvest is will be upgraded by the state. And we know that on our side of it, you know, we're gonna have to address that issue. I mean, we're just growing. We're teetering at 100,000 people, and that's just growth. It's gonna grow, we're gonna grow, and we'll have to address that road issue and do something at that intersection. It's just coming, so.
Yeah, another thing I would add to that is that you have all that water now that's flowing into Estonia Estates unchecked, uncontrolled. This will be a happy bonus for this development, is that it will help that Estonia issue too.
Well, the last thing that I wanna do is add to their problem.
I don't think-
If I didn't think for a second that would help that problem, but in my mind, I believe that will help.
Yep. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Ask a question.
Yes.
Thomas is back up. I have a concern with, even
We're
if
not
we
gonna
do
get
pass this.
You need him
any
in
of
there.
that.
They gotta get you on the mic if you want to come up here for the microphone.
Again, even if this does pass today, I have concerns with the oversight of the project, because it's gone through planning and zoning like it's unanimous every time. It gets no scrutiny until it gets here. And while we defeated it 4-1 almost unanimously last time, in a 2-2 vote on the other property, when it leaves here, you don't have any oversight, do you? It's all in planning and zoning. Where do we get our oversight on these proposed proposals? How do we as a community even have any say-so? It's just gone through planning and zoning both times with no scrutiny at all. And that's another concern if it does pass today.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Jones. And Bert, I'm gonna have you kind of answer that a
Yeah,
little
I mean,
bit,
just-
because, you know, I think by law, with the zone change, you need to make sure you understand it. I mean, whether there's, I know you can take into account traffic, I mean, you can sort of be considerate of that, but that really has nothing to do with the zone change.
That's right.
I mean, because this thing they could ask for a zone change and for 30 years never develop it.
That's right.
And so the planning commission, I think, they know the rules, I guess. And they know what goes into the actual zone change. They know it's a recommendation. Where the planning commission comes into play is having scrutiny over the site development plan, making sure that, you know, that the lots are correct, that the infrastructure is put in correctly, that the calculations for stormwater have been done accurately. I mean, that's where our road supervisor comes into play to make sure that the roads are good. I mean, there's a development review team that is all involved with our fire chiefs, and just kind of explain that process.
So, and I'll take just a little bit of issue with the idea that it was just, it's rushed through planning commission. That's why y'all have the planning commission. It's for them to have the public hearings, for them to hear the testimony, the engineers to come. All that did happen. It's happened twice now, but we've done it both times, and the planning commission's made their decision based on that testimony. As far as the site development part of it, yeah, we'll have engineers come in. They're required to have stamps on their plans. They're required to maintain insurance and certifications and trainings that go along with being able to stamp those plans. You mentioned that the road department has to sign off on entrances and turn lanes and drainage and where all that's going. Fire chief has to sign off on where the fire hydrants are going. The sewer department has to sign off on manholes and sewer lines. The water department signs off on where the water lines goes. It's a huge process. Anybody that provides services to this development is part of the development review team. It's anywhere from the sheriff's department to the school bus garage to the road department. Anybody that might have to provide services, we put them all in a room together and we throw the plan out on the table and say, where are our problems with this plan? And at the end of that process, any kind of utility that has to provide service, they have to sign that plan. They have to put their signature on it saying they've reviewed it, it meets their requirements. The water utility district supervisor is not going to sign that if his engineer hasn't looked at it and said, you got fire flow out there. Elliot's not going to sign it unless his sewer, because if they do and there's a problem, then we come back on them, or then we go back on the engineer and we have somebody say, you sign this, you stamp this, you certified that this would work. It's not working. You need to fix it. And if they don't, then we go see Jenny. But yeah, so it is a process. As far as the public input or the court's input at that phase, there's not really anything to approve or disapprove. If they meet the regulations, if they do everything by the book, then it should be approved. Now, the only thing that might change that if they were requesting some kind of waiver, if they need 20 parking places by the regulations and they only have 15, will the planning commission grant a waiver, that kind of thing. But if they design this project to meet our regulations, we should approve it, or we should change our regulations, right? So that's the site development plan process. It's pretty in-depth. It's not just coming and having a meeting and taking a vote. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that the public never sees, but it is a process.
And we also, I mean, we create a comprehensive plan for a reason, because it identifies growth areas. We engage the community in those discussions. I mean, since it started in 2000.
It's also updating those regulations, those requirements for those subdivision regulations and those land use regulations. When we get done with this comp plan in a month or whenever we're done with it, we're going to start that next phase of updating the entire land use and subdivision regulation ordinance. Because again, it's sorely overdue for another.
It kind of gives us a direction of where our growth areas are. I think that's why somebody had the vision well before us by putting sewer out there, right? I mean, sewer's the first step in urbanizing an area, whether it be in the city or in the county. I mean, it sort of creates an urban corridor.
Yeah.
You know, we had a public hearing for our comprehensive plan a few weeks ago, and I think, you know, it was a little disappointing. I mean, we had 4 citizens that showed up to it.
Almost as many as we have here today for this. if more people, and I'm glad that you are here and taking part in the process, I wish more had taken part in the.
Because it gives us
development
direction.
of that plan.
It sort of, it allows us to, when these developments come in, to kind of gives us our guidance and direction, you know. So, all right, thank you, Bert. Any other questions, comments?
Just one more thing, Judge. We're not the planning and zoning, we're not the ones that do that. We're the one that say whether or not it fits our comprehensive plan and should it be upgraded. And yet, at the same time, we ultimately have the responsibility to say, and as we did the first time around, to say that we don't think this is gonna work, and here was our reasons for that, and we did that. So, you know, we also have the responsibility to protect our citizens that's just part of our choice, just like gathering information from this to bring it back to have a second opportunity based on the facts today and not on what we had 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How many times has, after the court has approved something that it's turned down? Got any idea?
After the court is,
After the court's voted and it's passed on to the planning and zoning.
you mean that maybe a site development plan was
Right.
turned down?
Right.
Well, I don't know the one's ever been turned down. Certainly, we've had plans presented to us that we've had to change, we've had to tweak, we've had to move something around. But the goal is to get that approved. So the developer or the applicant is usually willing to accommodate any request that the planning commission or somebody involved in that from the road department, fire department, anything that they might want, they're more than willing to accommodate them.
Bert, has there been any talk about maybe developing this on a less denser base instead of 4 houses per acre?
Not at this stage, because we're just talking about, is it appropriate for residential? When you start talking about density, that's addressed at the site development plan stage. He could go in there and put in 1 acre lots on septic. Did I say 100 acre? I said 1 acre lots on septic systems once he got this development approved. I suspect that because he has the infrastructure for a higher density, more lot availability, that's probably the direction he'll go. But this is just to determine whether or not we think that area is appropriate for residential or not, regardless of the density.
Based on our regulations, Judge, and using that as our guide as it should be, you know, I don't ever want to get to the point where we have to say, we're going to have to give special consideration to this property based on this, because that's Bert's job, and Bert's going to take care of that. But at the same time, we know that this is a special circumstance, and those regulations are going to have to be right down to the letter on whether or not it's a success or failure. We're not going, we may not even be here.
And you shouldn't be. That's why you have me, that's why you have the planning commission, that's why you have the DRT. You're looking at the 50,000 foot view. Do I think a neighborhood, do I think a subdivision would look good out there? Yeah, I think it would, and then you turn it over to us to make sure it's done right.
Bert, I've always said that just because it meets the comprehensive plan, it shouldn't be approved. Each property or each parcel should be judged on its own merit, you know, because every piece of land has some different qualities.
Yeah, and that's the applicant, that Mr. Gilbert's job is to prove,
He
to
does a great
explain
job.
to you why he
He really
thinks,
is.
and it wouldn't be unheard of for the same piece of property to potentially be suitable for maybe a couple different types of zoning. But he believes, the applicant believes that this property is appropriate for that kind of zoning, and that's why they brought this application to us.
All right, thank you, Bert. Appreciate all the good discussion. Thanks for everybody that came. I think now that it's time for us to call the roll. We do have a motion in a second. So at this time, Clerk Barger, will you call the roll, please?
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
No.
Master Tudor,
No.
Master Botkin,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody. I'm gonna give everybody's welcome to stay. All right, you're more than welcome to stay, but anybody that would like to leave now, please go ahead and do so before we continue on with our meeting. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
signals? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that'd be a good
We
idea.
want recess.
I'm taking one anyway.
I was like,
here in
it's
just a
time
minute.
for
All
Kenny,
right,
I
well,
know.
we're gonna just appreciate everybody while everybody's leaving. We're gonna recess just for a second, so, thank you.
Get coffee and a biscuit while you're out.
We got some coffee over there. if you want some.
I'm just glad it's my last forever.
Kenny, if the next item goes that long, we'll be here all
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it can't.
I'm missing my hospital board meeting at noon, I'm assuming, right?
Well, I don't know. I'll try to do my best here. All right, welcome back, everybody. I think we're ready to get right back into it. We got next on the agenda, Resolution 2021-82. This is a CSEP Shelter-in-Place Kit Project. Good afternoon, Jennifer.
Good afternoon, Judge. Good afternoon, Court. Resolution 2021-82 is a resolution approving not feasible to bid for CSEP Shelter-in-Place Kit Project completion. Whereas the Madison County CSEP program requires maximum protection to our community, and whereas the Madison County CSEP program SIP project was placed out to bid in 2019 with only one bid received, and whereas the Madison County CSEP program worked successfully to fulfill the project with the vendor awarded the bid Pioneer Vocational Industrial Services until funding was depleted, and whereas the Madison County CSEP program's previous bids only identified one vendor, Pioneer Vocational Industrial Services, and the work performed was completed satisfactorily. And whereas the Madison County CSEP program now has additional funding to complete the SIP kit project and would like to continue the effort with Pioneer. And whereas the Madison County CSEP program would like to ask the fiscal court's permission to proceed with purchasing the shelter-in-place kits through a not feasible to bid so that Madison County CSEP could complete this project. Speak up. Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-82?
So moved, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do y'all have any discussion? Y'all understand what we're doing?
Yeah, just a comment. I was amazed to see that you had such a modest increase on the price of that.
Mm-hmm. I was too.
So were we.
Given everything else that's going on around us. That was good.
And one thing is, we had bid this. It's just back in 2019, and then
Yes.
COVID hit, and it's been a little crazy, so.
Absolutely.
All right, any more discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is Resolution 2021-83. This is the applicant agent for FEMA disasters appointment. Jennifer?
Resolution 2021-83, a resolution approving the Madison County Emergency Management Agency Director as the applicant agent for FEMA grants. Whereas the Federal Emergency Management Agency requires grantees to identify an applicant agent, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court desires to identify the Emergency Management Director as the applicant agent for FEMA grants.
All right. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve resolution 2021-83, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Judge,
Same.
I just think it's appropriate to
It is.
appoint the director out there as the applicant on that.
Yep, absolutely.
All I got.
Anything else? Call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2021-84. This is the L3 Harris Radio Maintenance Contract. Jennifer?
A resolution 2021-84, a resolution approving the extension of the L3 Harris Radio Maintenance Contract. Whereas the Madison County CSEP program currently operates a L3 Harris radio system, and whereas the Madison County CSEP program needs to continue maintenance on this system to ensure this system is good working order, and whereas the Madison County CSEP program team has reviewed the maintenance contract attached and believed it is in the best interest of the county to continue this service with L3 Harris, which is attached here to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-84?
Motion.
Second.
I have 3 motions and 4 seconds, I think. Yeah. All right. Did you get that, Kenny?
Yep.
All right. Do we have any discussion?
Just one, the 600,000 total bill on that, is that for just this year?
That is for 1 year, yes.
1 year.
Yeah.
Is that the new radio system?
That is the current radio system.
Yep. I don't know that, I mean, we're piecing when you talk about the new radio system, I think it's kind of coming in phases, correct?
That is correct,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Did you say there was the only bid on that?
For the L3 Harris, that was placed out to bid around 13 years ago. The original contract allowed for pricing and signatures that contained the first 10 years. Each year after that 10th year, we come back to court with the proposed amount and the 1 year agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be our 12th year.
Yep. All right. Any other discussion, questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2021-85. This is the CSEP boring bid award.
Resolution 2021-85, a resolution approving the award of boring operations for underground infrastructure as part of the communications network. Whereas the Madison County CSEP program requested bids for installing underground communication infrastructure as part of the local emergency communication system. And whereas the Madison County CSEP program received 2 bids for this work. And whereas the Madison County CSEP program reserves the right to award all or portions of this bid in any manner that is in the best interest of the county, and whereas the Madison County CSEP program team has reviewed the bids and believe at this time it is in the best interest of the county to award only the boring operation to Team Fiscal, which is attached here to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Motion approved 2021-85, Judge.
All right.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any
Where
questions?
will this going to be done at? Do we know that?
Yes.
Where's it gonna be?
It will be part of the project that we approved from our EOC towards Clay's Ferry.
Towards Clays Ferry. Let's go under interstate.
No, it will not go into the interstate. But there are certain situations where you don't need to trench,
Right.
that you need to bore.
Okay.
And so you need to have a experienced company that actually knows what they're doing, right?
So there's about 6,000 feet that we've identified so far, a portion on Whitlock and a portion on Tate's Creek that have to be bored.
Oh, so it's not going from there to, this is the other section going to?
This is just, anywhere we identify where we have to bore, the idea is to get a per foot price, so that if we have to, we don't have to go out to bid and try to figure out who to do it. So this way we got a negotiated price. When we do get to a point where we have to bore, we've already got it negotiated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think when we bid this out, you could do parts or all.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to misspeak on that.
It's okay.
That is part of this project, but,
Yes.
so it could be going that direction.
We might be going that way, yes.
Yeah.
But not necessarily boring.
Okay, I got you. All right. Any other questions? All right, call roll.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next, Resolution 2021-86, Emergency Watershed Protection for Slate Lick Road. Jeffrey?
Resolution 2021-86, a resolution accepting a natural resource conservation services proposal and project for stream road bank improvements along Slate Lick Branch Road. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court was asked by the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service if there was a desire to accept a cost share project to improve the stream road bank along Slate Lick Branch Road in Madison County at site 37.5524, 84.3043, and whereas the county has met with the local Natural Resource Conservation Services, NRCS, staff and have asked for the project to include the installation of crib and rail in order to stabilize the stream road bank, and whereas this project will be a cost share of 75% NRCS, 25% county, with the possibility of the county's 25% being split as 12% state and 13% county. And whereas this project has been reviewed by the Madison County Judge Executive, Madison County Road Department, and Emergency Management staff and is believed to be in the best interest of the county. And whereas the team above is requesting the fiscal court's approval to accept this project. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the Judge Executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-86?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Where exactly is that at, Judge? I
If
know
you
where
go,
Slate Lick's at, but is it the whole thing?
no, there's a section, Willie, where's the, I don't know what to give you. There's a big tree,
Pause.
It's about 1,100 address.
1100 address. There is this huge tree there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's kinda in a curve.
There's usually a horse that's standing in the
Yeah.
corner of the
Down
field
before
there.
you get to the underpass? Is it
Well,
down before
so
you get to the underpass, or is it back?
it's
where
past the
creek's at,
underpass.
back toward the city
It's,
side?
it's between two bridges. It's between
Yeah.
two smaller bridges.
Too small.
There's a branch that comes down and sort of tees right into the
It's
roadway.
not near the underpass. It's
On the other end?
far, yes.
Okay, I
For
was
the
just
love, I
curious.
hope nobody cuts that tree down.
Well, we're not cutting the tree down.
I know, that's what I hope not.
Yeah.
We'll find it.
No. But the problem is that branch is teeing in, it's hitting that road dead on, and it keeps undermining it, it turns right. And so, when we partnered with the NRCS on this, they were gonna actually do, just sort of riprap, heavy rocks, bigger rocks, and we really felt like it was an issue. Willie's had problems with that spot for some time, and we felt like rail and cribbing was the way to go, and they were willing to go that direction with us. So it's a good project.
Is there a max amount on that?
Well, so when they had give us the budget numbers, it was for riprap and not rail and cribbing, and so we're finding out what those totals will be. Yep. That's why we put the percentages in the resolution, because they are willing to pay the 75%. I mean, so okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. I've been reading too many old deeds, I guess, where it says turn at the old oak tree. Yeah. All right. Let's see, Resolution 2021-87, CSEP Broadcast Site Generator Maintenance Contract. Jennifer.
Resolution 2021-87, a resolution approving CSEP broadcast site generator maintenance contract. Whereas the Madison County CSEP program has generators located at broadcasting antenna sites throughout the county, providing broadcasting of emergency notifications in the event of a release of agent from the bluegrass chemical activity. And whereas the Madison County CSEP program needs these generators to be maintained in ready state to maintain readiness to support communications to the public in the event of a release of agent from the bluegrass chemical activity. And whereas this contract does not include generators at our Emergency Operations Center, our Joint Information Center, our 8 remote communication tower sites, and our portable generators as those are under other contracts. And whereas the Madison County CSEP program team researched the quotes provided and feel that it is in the best interest of the county to contract with Hepburn Consultants Incorporated, which is attached here to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve resolution 2021-87, Judge.
Thank you.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This
Seeing,
company we've dealt with before, isn't it? On the upkeep of these generators, this is a company we've dealt with before.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Many times in the past.
anything else? Call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Now you can go get a drink of water. Next is Resolution 2021-88. This is a road adoption for Trillium Loop. Mr. Willie Willis.
Madison County Fiscal Court, Madison County, Kentucky, Resolution 2021-88, a resolution for Madison County Fiscal Court to adopt roadway for county maintenance. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court would like to adopt the following roadway for county maintenance, and whereas the road is described as follows: Trillium Loop, 510 feet long by 20 feet wide, Tommy Cope Properties LLC section at the end of the road, which is 13 lots. Whereas the road has been inspected by the Madison County Road Supervisor and is recommended for adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve this resolution and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Willie. Do I have a motion and a second to approve
Motion.
Resolution 2021-88?
Approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I saw that yesterday, Judge, and it's a good road
Yep.
out there. He's done a good job in that area.
Is that off US 25?
Yes.
It's in Twin Lakes.
But it's just the back section. We haven't
The
just.
front of it needs some issues. I
Yeah.
sent you a picture of that yesterday.
But some of the front part of that, or the rest of that, we've not taken in.
No.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Botkin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Willie. Next, Resolution 2021-89, pictometry agreements. Mr. Chris Israel.
Yes, sir. Hope this microphone's in the right place. I do not want to get yelled at by the guy in the back room. Resolution 2021-89, a resolution authorizing signature of the 2021-2024 pictometry flight stakeholder group agreements. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is the lead agency of the pictometry stakeholder group and contracts for orthogonal flight services for the PFSG, and whereas the county desires to sign contractual agreements for reimbursement from the PFSG stakeholders, herein officially known to be the City of Richmond, the City of Berea, Madison County PVA, Berea College, and Eastern Kentucky University. And whereas these contracts shall be a 4-year agreement between the county and each stakeholder, with payments being made by each stakeholder as defined in their attached agreement every July 1st of 2021 through 2024. And whereas this agreement provides each stakeholder with 2-inch orthogonal images and 2.7-inch oblique images for every sector of Madison County. Images are available online via the Pictometry Connect account that is granted to the stakeholder via this executed agreement. Pictometry Connect access may also be granted to any sub-agency of a stakeholder. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to enter into these agreements and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Chris. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-89?
Move to approve Resolution 2021-89.
Second.
Any discussion?
Chris, would you be kind enough to read the 6 attachments there with that? No, I just
I only have one, I'll make it up.
I will say, this is a great program. It's a great partnership with other community entities. Man, we utilize this pictometry.
Yeah, this is an awesome agreement.
a lot.
This is an extension you guys signed a couple years ago that it gave us another 5th and 6th flight, and all these partners have come back to do this with us. We got a flight in December, and they redid it again in March of 2021, so the next flight will be in December of 2022 and December of 2024. We're going to go ahead and start collecting the funds because the fiscal court actually pays that out every year. So this is a great partnership with all these entities.
Thank you, Chris. Any other comments? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, thanks, Chris. Resolution 2021-90, Southern Health Partners Health Services Agreement Amendment. Mr. Steve Tussey, our jailer.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, Judge. This is a resolution 2021-90, a resolution for amendment number 5 to the Health Services Agreement between Madison County, Kentucky and Southern Health Partners. Whereas the county and Southern Health Partners desire to amend the Health Services Agreement dated October 20, 2014 between the county and SHP. Whereas the county and SHP agree to reduce the average daily population from 375 inmates to 300 inmates. Whereas if the daily inmate population exceeds 300 for any given month, compensation payable to Southern Health Partners by the county shall be increased by a per diem rate of $1.42 a day. Therefore, in consideration of the covenants and promises hereafter made, county agrees to amendment number 5 to the Health Services Agreement to become effective July 1, 2021. I'm assuming that date will be adjusted somewhat.
Yep.
Long story short, and what this is our health services contract for the jail, and we have been that contract for 375 inmates. Because we have an opportunity and our count is low due to mostly to our energy project and our some of the construction going on at the jail, taking the opportunity while our count is low to save a few dollars on our health services contract. And when our count returns to whatever normal is, we will amend it back to whatever is appropriate at the time.
Yep. Okay.
Motion to approve resolution 2021-90, Judge.
Right, and the resolution, just to end with this, now therefore let it be resolved, Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve this resolution, authorizes me, Judge Executive, to execute the same on behalf of the county. So, yeah, I just always like to make that note. So we have a motion second. Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, call the roll. Thanks. Thanks, Steve, appreciate it.
Master Berger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Bodkin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is personnel. We have several, I think, today. First, we're going to have Ms. Donna Abner.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm not sure if this is down low enough
You're good.
or not. I'm the supervisor, the custodial supervisor. I'm wanting to recommend to hire Donna Officer for full-time custodial 2, starting out 11 an hour. We had the committee was Paula Smith, Morgan Elliston, and myself, and she's experienced in all the custodial stuff.
All right.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion under Don Abner's recommendation to hire Donna Jean, officer, at $11 per hour for the custodial staff.
Second. Starting on July 28th. Yep.
7/28?
7/28/2021. Yep.
Tomorrow.
Yep. Tomorrow. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Thanks,
Yes.
Donna.
Master
You're welcome.
Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. I think next we have Fire Department. Chief?
Good morning, how are you all?
Good.
Today I've got 4 part-timers, we'll bring them down and do them all one at a time. It was a committee of myself, Captain Greg Cox and Captain Ethan Jones. And the first one I want to present to the court today is Clayton Cornett. It's a part-time firefighter at $8 an hour, starting on 8/2/2021.
According to his recommendation, do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? When we talk about full or part-time here, Chief, these are filling in.
Yes,
When
we keep
we have
them,
a full-time that's on vacation or maybe sick or,
we keep a minimum staffing of 7.
yeah.
And this way, if daytime we have one off on vacation, one sick, I make the 7th person during my work hours. Then this part-timer would come in as I would be leaving and be there throughout the rest of the shift, may even work a 24-hour shift.
Right, yeah, that's good. All right, any more discussions? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Second one will be a Jackson Roder, $8 an hour, is part-time firefighter, start date of 8/2/2021.
Thank you, Chief. Do I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Next one will be Christopher Bentley, part-time firefighter, $8 an hour, starting on 8/2/2021.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Seeing no discussion, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
The last one will be Gabriel Camberos, part-time firefighter, $8 an hour, starting on 8/2/2021 also.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Hey, Chief, is that, Gabriel, was he worked for us before?
He was full-time, he left us, went to Fort Knox, and
Yeah.
he did a tour somewhere else across seas, and he came back. He's actually employed with the Army Depot again now as a firefighter there, so
Yeah, I thought that name sounded familiar.
he's a good
Yeah,
guy.
good. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, next in the golf. How are you, Gary?
Good.
Good to have you. Good to see you.
Morning.
Yep. I'd like to get your approval to hire Darrell Northern as a seasonal grounds crew at $9.15 an hour, starting on July 28th, 2021.
And you did say 950, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to hire Darrell Northern, seasonal grounds worker at $9.50, starting on 7/28.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Is that Darrell with you? Darrell with you today?
No, he's saying is Darrell
Darryl
with
with
us
you
today?
Oh, no.
No, he's not
okay.
here.
All right.
Next is our animal shelter. Hi, Katie.
Hello, good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Today, I'd like to make a recommendation to the court to promote Caitlin Banks from Office Assistant 1 to Office Administrator 2. This would increase her hourly wage from the current of $13.39 to $15 an hour to go into effect on August 4th, 2021. Caitlin has progressively assumed more roles within the animal care facilities outside of her current outlined job description. She communicates with outside constituents regularly, manages finances, and directs fostering and adoptions. We find that Caitlin does far more than general clerical work.
She does.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Do I have a motion and a second upon Katie's recommendation of Katie?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Next, we have Jennifer. I think we have a position in MAC set.
Good afternoon again.
Yes?
This position is 100% CSEP funded.
Yeah, it's almost.
Morning.
Yeah.
100% CSEP funded. This would be a promotion request for Cole Baker to go from his current position of EOC technician. The new position would be an operations lead. The effective date would be August 4th, and the proposed new hourly wage would be $18.46.
Would you like to make a motion to approve the promotion of Cole Baker from EOC Tech to Operations Lead from 1674 to 1846, starting date 8/4/2021?
Thank you. I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Next is Human Resources. Colleen, good to see you.
Good morning. I am here to make a recommendation for a promotion for Morgan Elliston, moving from Human Resource Assistant to Human Resources Coordinator. And that would be for $20.51, effective date 8/4/2021.
All right, do I have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. I will add that I'm very thankful for Morgan, and I hope all the magistrates have gotten to meet Morgan, but she really has been very good for our department, for our county, and appreciate you. All right. All right, next, I'm gonna run through this pretty quick, because it's a judge report. I know everybody's getting tired. We have had a long court today, which is a good thing. Just a few announcements. There's a lot of sort of late summer, fall events coming up, and these are all wonderful community events, and so I always like to make sure that people are aware in case they want to attend. But our Taste of Richmond that we always have at the Richmond Center every year is this coming Friday, July 30th. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Right there in the Richmond Center. So please come out. It's always a great event. I'm going to let Katie in a minute say this one. Yep. Berea's annual L&N Day will be Saturday, August 7th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Old Town Artisan Village in Berea. Contact Berea Tourism. Their schools are getting ready to start back in the middle to the end of August. I'm not going to list all of them, but just be mindful of school buses and heavier traffics in the morning and stuff as everybody gets sort of used to getting back to school and getting up early. There will be a back-to-school bash on Thursday, August the 12th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Irvin McDowell Park on Lancaster Avenue. Donations of school supplies are greatly appreciated. For more information, please contact Richmond Park and Recreation. Pops at the Park will be Saturday, August the 21st. That is an awesome event as well, community event. It is at Whitehall State Shrine again this year. Please contact the Richmond Chamber of Commerce for tickets and more information. Also want to make an announcement that when we have Pops at the Park out at Whitehall State Shrine, we close our Madison County Whitehall Park because we need overflow parking, and I think there's typically fireworks that are set up over there at our park. So on that Saturday of August the 21st, we will be closing our park at 12 noon. But we will be reopening our park the next morning at 8 a.m. On Sunday, August 22nd. So, Roger, I know it's your district. A lot of people utilize that park. John, people from your district do, I know as well. Just be a reminder that we will be closing that day.
At noon?
At noon, on August the 21st. But we will reopen again on that morning of Sunday, August 22nd at 8 a.m. Hope's Wings Evening of Hope will be Friday, August 27th, and that'll be from 6 until 10 p.m. at Chenault Vineyards. Tickets are available by visiting hopeswings.org, or you can call Hope's Wings office at 859-623-4095 if you're interested in getting tickets. All right, that's all I have today. Comments from magistrates. Paul? I'll start with you. You good? Roger? No? John?
Judge, I'd just like to take a minute to remember the anniversary of Flight 5191. 15 years ago, 49 individuals lost their life in Lexington Bluegrass Field by a tragic plane crash. Only one survivor, and some of those residents were residents from Madison County.
Yeah.
Just want to remember those folks. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's good. Is that today?
Today.
Today? Wow.
15 years.
Just to say, Judge, things are going good in the 4th District, and should anyone need me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Thank you. Jenny? Wait a minute. You good? Tony, you good? Kenny? You good? All right. Department heads. Katie, you're gonna make a little quick announcement.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to make an announcement. July is normally referred to as the dog days of summer, and it being July and us having a lot of animals that need a new home, we just wanted to celebrate here at the Madison County Animal Shelter. We have reduced our adoption fees this week from Monday through Saturday for all cats and dogs to $25. And big news is we'll be open on Saturday to welcome the public between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. So we invite everyone to come out, meet all the cats and dogs that are looking for a new home.
Yep.
Thank you. We'll
That's
see you
awesome.
there.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you for your leadership out there. Any other department heads? All right, seeing none. Comments from the audience? Don't everybody get up at once.
Don't have any audience.
All right, I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? No, call the roll.
Magistrate Bakken?
Yes.
Magistrate Reynolds?
Yes.
Magistrate Berger?
Yes.
Magistrate Tudor?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes. Our next court meeting is August the 10th, 2021. That'll be right here in Richmond. Again, that'll be August 10th, 2021, right here in Richmond. And before we adjourn today, I would like to ask Clerk Barger to go up to the podium. We do have a special presentation that we would like to give today, and I'll let.
What you drinking there? Is it getting wet?
Well, I didn't want to dry out. Yeah, smell it. It smells exactly like vodka. Reagan asked me to do this, and I'm sure somebody knows because we were completely off script what's getting ready to happen. Reagan asked me to do this, and I was extremely honored and thrilled to be a part of this process. And this is a proclamation, so I'm reading this on behalf of the fiscal court. And I just want to say that President McFadden is joining a very elite group of folks that have had the privilege of being under Colleen Cheney's wing. I'm doing this because Reagan couldn't get through it, and now I'm getting torn up. I knew it happened. But when I started here and Colleen came to work with me, she basically saved my life. I wouldn't have gotten through those first 2 years without her help. And because we think the same, we work the same, it was still the best 2 years of my career in anything. And I want to thank her. So now I'm going to try to read. Whereas Madison County government has had the honor and privilege of having Colleen Cheney on our team, and whereas Colleen's journey with the county she has helped this team grow and become better each day, and whereas Colleen advised the fiscal court members on policy, budget, employee, and administrative matters, and whereas Colleen directed and oversaw all aspects of internal and external communications, including public relations, marketing, and was the spokesperson for all media, both social and traditional. And whereas Colleen wrote the Opportunity Zone application for the Madison County, which was approved by the United States Department of Treasury. And whereas Colleen launched the county's Economic Development Program and served as Economic Development Director in the recruitment of companies, including App Harvest. And whereas Colleen interacted with other county agency contacts, local governments, federal and state legislators, and members of the military leadership. And whereas while we selfishly want her to stay, we know God has written another chapter for her to spread her wings and fly. And whereas we are so thankful for the impact and the imprint Colleen has made on Madison County government, and we know her legacy will continue on. Now, therefore, Madison County Fiscal Court and Judge Reagan Taylor do hereby proclaim July 27th as Colleen Cheney Day and wish her the best of luck in the future endeavors. She will be greatly missed, and not only as a colleague, but as a friend. Judge Reagan Taylor.
She told the department heads, we had a department head meeting about a week ago Monday, and she really kind of broke down, and all she could say is, "I'm a terrible crier."
Such an ugly crier.
Yeah, she's an ugly crier, but I do need
Take a
you.
picture, Taylor.
I do need you to come up and accept this proclamation. And thank you to Kenny for doing this. I really concur with what Kenny said. It's an honor, really is an honor to be a part of your career. And I'm going to be a little boastful that she has stayed with me longer than she has anyone. And
That's
not,
because you needed the most work.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But we will miss you. The county is in a better place because of you. And I'm so excited for our future because of your imprint that you will leave will allow us all to continue to work together. I have the utmost confidence in our department heads, in my leadership, in the direction that we're going as a fiscal court, and the direction we have been going in for the last 6.5 years. David McFadden is getting a good one. Watch out, EKU, because Colleen makes changes, and it's for the betterment of our community. It 100% is for the betterment of taxpayers and for the community. So, good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
That's like the personally kind of one.
At this time, I'm sure that there's others that, before we adjourn, that would maybe like to say something, and I'll open it up to our magistrates and other elected officials if they would like to say anything.
Yeah, I'd just like opportunity, Judge. You were kind enough to give us the opportunity to interview and speak with Colleen before you brought her on board with Madison County. And over my career as an Army officer and later on, I had the opportunity to interview and speak with a lot of people, and it was just a no-brainer in Colleen's case. It only took a few minutes to see that we were just way overclassed in talent, and the things that she brought to the county and to us personally, I don't think there's anyone here in this court that hasn't learned something from her, like turn your phones off during meetings. That hasn't had the opportunity to learn something from her. I personally have, Colleen. You've been a blessing to us all, and we'll miss you. And I vote no, you can't leave.
I just want to wish you the best of luck in your new career. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know where to start, but she gave me advice and your advice that we needed desperately. I can about cry myself just thinking about her leaving, but it's all for the better, I'm sure. And she's never been shy about saying, "Do you want my advice?" And usually it was right.
Yep. Anyone else?
I want to thank you for your service to the county, and congratulations on your new job, and hope you do a great job there. Know you will.
Just going to point out that all these softies over here can't hold it together. Colleen has taught me to be tough. I will not cry, at least not in front of all y'all. So, I mean, I was just a young pup coming up when I first met Colleen, and I walked into the room, and I'm going to have a talk with President McFadden because he keeps taking all the people close to me, but someone that Colleen will get to work closely with, Ethan Witt's a good friend of mine, and I was with him, out at the fairgrounds at this event, and I said, I don't know everybody in this room, but I'm fairly certain after speaking to her, she's the smartest person in here. And I'll stand by that. Colleen has helped me tremendously. For the public, obviously, you can see I'm surrounded by a bunch of very handsome men and completely outnumbered, and at least I typically have Colleen's support to say, you're right. So, you know, now I get to spend more time hanging out with her socially and talking about you all. But I will greatly miss you.
Anybody else? Sheriff's joined us. Sheriff, you know, we just presented Colleen with the proclamation, thanking her for her service. Appreciate you stopping by, but would obviously want you to have the opportunity to say something if you would like to. Yeah, that way the microphone picks you up.
First of all, I'm going to say that Colleen has been nothing but special. While I was chief deputy for Jerry Combs, anytime you call her, she was there. She had a lot of contacts. We didn't have anything. She made those contacts, and we started getting grants. A tremendous person, tremendous person. It came as a shock to me. I hate to see you leave. You've been a wonderful person, great colleague, and I wish you the best. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none. Thank you. At this time, I need a motion second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Master Reynolds?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Tudor?
Yes.
Master Buckin?
Yes.
Just so.
Yes.
I think that court picture's in order, Judge. unless you
Yeah,
like
we
it or
do,
not.
would like to get a picture with your proclamation. Is that okay?
I can give you the proclamation, y'all can have a picture with it.